here are some quotes from real businesses in Cardigan. You got Tom the butcher, who says the Wi-Fi is great for browsing. We got Crust here, we got Oshan and Catrin, who align their social media messaging and also look at nighttime economy when they're open. So last summer they were opening later at certain times of day and watching how they staff. Rod Mundo's, he likes to see the demographics and the historical information, the pattern, and how it relates to turnover as well. And you got Jackson down at Peter Teepee, busy guy, likes the information, and we've improved on the reporting. We have more graphics, more infographics coming into it as well for his benefit. And Anne Barlow, Crafter's Crutch. We have American Cruises last year, and we made sure that they all loaded the app as they got off the boat in Fishguard. So on the 40-minute journey up, they were looking at the app, and we could get an analytics of all these American cruises. We had about 200 to 300 Americans coming to Cardigan, and they were enticed then as part of the campaign to draw them to the town up to Crafter's Crutch, which is at the far end of town. And that was actively used then, and Anne benefited from that. Geraint then, he has also benefited from using it by looking at how free parking makes a difference. He thinks that it makes people dwell longer, which, you know, it does. And so he thought, yeah, you know, he values the information. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hand over to Susie Park. So I'll just unshare for now. And if Susie can come in and say a few words.
Yeah, hello there. I'm relatively new as a business to Cardigan High Street. I ran Making in Wales for 3 years previously to actually having a bricks and mortar building. We used to hire venues in Ceredigion, Pembrokeshire and Carmarthenshire. So coming into Cardigan has been a big move for us. And the analytics that we get from the Wi-Fi helps us to confirm things that we thought, but also to actually inform decisions going forward. So for example, you know, we've had ups and downs in terms of turnover in the cafe. We run a cafe as well as the craft courses and the little retail shop. And you can look back and actually go, well, okay, it wasn't us on that day. The footfall had gone down because of perhaps a decision made at government level or whatever about you know, people travelling, so that, you know, it confirms maybe suspicions by looking back and going, oh, okay, well, it wasn't so bad after all. And then also looking, as you mentioned, Clive, about crust. You know, if you've got difference of people coming in the evenings into town, wandering around and things, you can then sort of decide whether or not to open, put on an evening menu or events and things like that. So we're finding it extremely useful to back up, you know, decision making.
Thanks, Susie. And Jonathan from Cardigan Castle, if you can come in with your views.
Yeah, thank you, Clive. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so quite similar to Susie, really, I think, in how we use the data. Particularly useful for us as a tourist attraction is that we can sort of drill, or Clive, I suppose, can drill down to find how many of those visitors were actually tourists or how many of them were locals. That differentiation is quite interesting and important to us. And it lets us really measure the effectiveness of what we're offering. You know, year on year, we can now check and see, as a ratio of footfall, how many visitors did we have on that day? Are we trending down year on year in the amount of people coming in? So is what we're offering, you know, maybe getting a bit old, getting a bit stale and needs updating? So that's one side of it. The other side as well is actually to test then anything new that you do put in. So it's good to get that, you know, definitive positive that, you know, you could think it's not worked, but actually it's footfall in town that's gone down. It's not that you haven't attracted those people through the gates. And then thirdly, where I think is really, really useful, and Clive sort of mentioned it slightly in his presentation there, is to be used as evidence of the value of something to the town. So through the year, the castle runs, you know, a variety of events. Some of them Clive mentioned, then we get involved in different bits and bobs. There can be an element of inconvenience to that sometimes with, you know, possibly road closures but it's really good then after the event to have that definitive evidence, whether it's for going for grant funding or to try and get more people on board to support the event, that it has actually had a positive effect on the town and on the traders.
Thank you, Jonathan. And finally, we've got Ben from Tonne Surf, one of the shops in town as well.
Oh, Clive. Yeah, so for me, I've got a digital marketing and e-commerce background. So I like to get quite granular with the data and look at the analytics just to see how it can benefit me in multiple ways. And one of the things that I like to look at, and Clive's mentioned it, is how we can perhaps compare weather for the day, footfall and sales, and see if there's any correlation on whether my sales have been up or down. And this allows me then to start looking and pre-planning to whether I want to create social campaigns, because as you can see, most month on end, the applications which are being used by the free Wi-Fi are all predominantly social media orientated. So it allows me to create targeted campaigns as well as dynamic campaigns. For the locale, we can look at perhaps my shop has been quiet on these days. Is it rainy? Is it sunny? But do you know what, the people are in town? Are they in cafes? Are they on their mobile phone? The data's there and it shows it. So it allows me to create these discount codes to try and entice them into the shop because I know they're there. And if they're not, then it allows me to kind of strategize against and find other ways you want me to pull them in, whether it's actually creating different graphics and using data from outside the shop just to try and draw them in through more visualized means. But data, we live in a digital world, it's insanely important to me. I need to get as much of it as I can just so I know where I'm spending my money, because it's a very seasonal town at the moment. So I've got to make the most of what I've got.